accidentally splashed beet powder into my coffee. It's a good way to start the day. All right, 6 miles done today. The middle of the week mileage is going up just a little bit as we're about 4 or 5 weeks off from our peak week before we start to taper. So all that middle week mileage is up to about 6 miles now for our shortest runs, 5 to 6 miles. And you know, that's just how I'm progressing towards that Chicago Marathon. That's now 8 weeks away, I think. So we're getting, you know, close, really close. So I'll put the stats up on your screen now, and you'll see my heart rate was pretty balanced. It was a fairly easy run. I feel well recovered from the 17 miles on Sunday. I don't feel any inflammation or swelling or soreness or pain out of the ordinary, not like the 15-mile run where maybe I just got a little unstable at some point and my knee was swelling a little. This week, no issues. So my legs are still tired. I still feel that they're a little bit heavy after the workout this weekend and all that mileage. But that's just the nature of training for a marathon. I mean, you're going to start to have weeks where you're just tired and your legs are not recovering fully, and that fatigue builds, and that's why it's good to have a down week. And it's also why that big 3-week taper for me, I feel, is very important at the end, because you got to recover and really get into your prime best for the race day itself. Now I'm gonna head inside, take a quick shower, and then I want to go over just some of the changes that I've seen for me over the last year to 15 months or so. Changes in just the way I look, changes in my weight, and I think the ratio of what I see in my body and weight and things is pretty interesting. We'll talk a little bit about Strava and increases and improvements that I've seen in my times over the last year, 15 months or so. Just want to share that, want to show you, again, it's not all about weight loss, but just some interesting improvements in my fitness and my overall health, I guess, and the way I look. So let's just go inside and take a look, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so now that we're back inside, again, I just want to show you some of the interesting little changes that I get to see in myself, because again, I have a camera, I have snapshots of me at different points in time, and I just think it's interesting. So I want to start with just going back to a few clips from just about a year ago, even a couple clips from right around the New York City Marathon, or me running the New York City Marathon, you know, just after a full training block that prepared me to be able to run 26.2 miles through the streets of New York City. And I think I look pretty different. I mean, I think there's, you know, some weight that's been lost in my face. There's other parts of my body. I'm not going to do like before and after shots without my shirt on or anything crazy like that. It's just, I think I look visibly different, and especially seeing myself on camera. And the point that I want to make about seeing myself in those clips then versus my clips now or today is that I've truly only lost between 3 and 5 pounds. I've always, you know, said I'm running around 240 pounds as a runner, which is a heavier runner for sure. And I'd say I was probably around 242 pounds maybe during the New York City Marathon last year. And I promise you, if I weigh myself today, I mean, there's days that I drop a lot of weight after a long run. I've gone down recently into the 220s, you know, after like my 17-mile run last weekend, or if it's really hot and humid and I've done 15 or something like that. But when I let myself, you know, recover and rehydrate, I've settled in around probably 237 right now. That's probably my current weight in pounds. And that's only a 5-pound weight difference from what I think looks like pretty visible differences. And again, my point's not to talk about weight. It's just that if you are somebody who ever gets discouraged by not thinking you're losing enough weight while you're running, or really being hyper focused on that, it's just a chance to see, you know, I might feel the same. Like if I lost, you know, again, I'm saying 240, I've been saying 240 for a long time. In my head, if I thought I only lost 3 pounds, I might get a little bit caught up on that number, but you shouldn't. I mean, there's just some visible evidence that if you stick with it, you're consistent with your running, you know, your body's going to slim down, your body's going to adjust to the way it needs to be, you're going to build up muscle, which is going to bring your weight up, and you're going to burn a little fat, yeah, which is going to help bring your weight back down. But the point is just not to get so caught up on the number, because you can see the differences between me then and me now, and I think I look different. I'm not unhappy with the way I look now versus then or anything like that, but the changes happen, and you don't always see the changes happen when you're not recording yourself and seeing yourself a year away and then today. So just keep that in mind. And my point's, again, just not to get hung up on a number. So it's just more important to find joy in running and something pleasurable about the whole experience of training, or you're not going to do it and you're not going to see any results. You're not necessarily going to see them on the scale regardless. So overall, that was just the point I wanted to show you and share a little bit about me then and now. I just thought it was an interesting comparison and relation between the way I looked and the number. So yeah, that's that. Now, I will also show you some stuff on Strava, just because, again, there's other progress that we make, of course, besides the way we look. So I'm going to pull up a couple runs, in particular from this same time last year. It's a 14-mile run that I did last August, again, in preparations for the New York City Marathon, and also a 7-mile run that I did in August that was just very similar to today, where I did a 6-mile easy run and just got out to get some mileage in. For the 7-mile run, I ran about 10:06 per mile. I saw some of my comments on this run on Strava mentioning that was a little bit warm, a little bit humid, which has been the case throughout this summer as well. So hopefully some similar conditions. And you can see at about 10:06 per mile, my heart rate was about 140 beats per minute. Which again was very similar to the heart rate that I had today. And there's so many factors that go into runs. You can't compare them one to one. If I look at the winter from last, 6 months ago, I was actually faster and had a better heart rate. But again, it's because of the temperature changes we also see. So there's so many factors. But either way, 10:06 per mile versus 9:45 per mile today, around the same heart rate. That's some, progress that, maybe is evidence, maybe it's not, maybe there's other factors, but some progress for a similar time just a year ago, about 15 to 20 seconds per mile faster for a similar effort. If we look at the 14-mile run, again, 10:01 per mile at about 140 beats per minute. I'll put up the last run I just had in New York City summer streets. It was a 17-mile run. My heart rate was climbing more towards the end, which I think brought the average up just a little bit. But overall, you can see very comparable. And I know I was faster during that summer streets. And the elevation was also much higher during New York City summer streets versus this run, which was relatively flat for 14 miles. So again, just some improvements that I've seen on Strava when I compare my data, which you can do, but again, you just have to be careful about the days you choose. But there's progress on Strava. There's progress, I think, in the differences that I see in myself and my body. I feel stronger on the roads. I feel like my stride is more fluid, like I'm able to control the way that I land on the ground and push off. So a lot of good benefits that I've seen over the last year and a half. Really gotten back into training for marathons, and I just wanted to share some of those differences and comparisons with all of you today. I have this weekend the 12-mile training run, which is actually a New York Roadrunners event with fluids and things on a course just in Central Park. So I'm going to be able to do my 80 minutes at marathon pace there and not have to bring fluids with me. So that'll be nice, and I'll be able to share, what else is going on that day. So stick around. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you all in the next video.